Ah, Christmas. The beautiful lights, the delicious eggnog, the random phone calls from an escaped psychopath intent on murdering you and all of your sorority sisters. Wait, what? There's a certain Bob Clark Christmas movie that gets play in the houses of horror fans everywhere yearly. I'm Tyler with JoBlo Horror, and today on Real Slashers, we're getting into the Christmas spirit and diving into the Bob Clark classic. No, not that one. 1974's Black Christmas.
Hey, quiet! It's him again! The Mona!
Oh, I love this movie so much. The wonderful Christmas spirit, the slow burn that it takes you on as characters get off one by one, all while absolutely oozing with 70s atmosphere. It's a wonderful combination of a slow burn story mixed with the tension of having a killer lurking around the shadows at all times. It's also credited as being one of the first slashers ever. So needless to say, we owe a lot to this one. Olivia Hussey plays our main lead, Jess, and she's who we spend most of the film with. And thankfully, she's absolutely lovely. While she doesn't rise to the occasion quite as well as some of her contemporaries like Laurie Strode or Nancy Thompson, she makes the journey one that we actually care about. Hussey, along with Margot Kidder and Andrea Martin, really provide the backbone of the film. Just look at how they pivot their plans the moment that Barb's parents bail on her. They know she needs them. So their boyfriends are the brunt of the bad news. In fact, all the boyfriends here are just constantly getting bad news. As much as the newer one wanted to be and failed, this is definitely more of a girl power movie, just a little more subtle. The guys are constantly getting the shaft, and not in the good way. Once the threatening phone calls start, Jess seems to be the main target, but that's mostly because she just seems to be the one that's always answering the phone. Just stop answering the phone, Jess! In fact, it's kind of surprising how no one thinks to just unplug the phone and go about their Christmas break. One person we have to mention is the great John Saxon. He's our authority figure here and really our only sense of hope. But if you're going into this expecting him to have much to do, then you'll be disappointed. Because this is definitely a story about the girls. Well, except for Claire's dad, Mr. Harrison. See, Claire is Billy's first victim, and she's missing for most of the film. She was supposed to meet up with her dad, and she never showed. So he's been on the look for her. And she never showed because she's just been chilling in the attic in this memorable shot. Oddly enough, they actually lucked out with the casting of Lynn Griffin as Claire. See, Lynn had been a swimmer and could hold her breath for extended periods of time. This proved very useful when they had to put a bag over her head in order to get the shot. So when you watch this and wonder what big Hollywood effects they used in order to achieve it, she was just holding her breath. Real simple. We also get Mrs. Mack, who has some pretty entertaining moments as the house mother, but she mostly just kind of feels like fodder. At no point does she actually seem like a savior for the girls. There's also an uncomfortable subplot involving a missing high school girl. Most of the town is out looking for her, and when she's found, it's not pretty. It's easy to assume that this was Billy's doing. This adds even more to Billy's aura and makes him just that much more terrifying. And yes, there is a whole abortion angle that goes on here with Jess and her boyfriend Peter, but I'm not touching that with a 20-foot pole. All you need to know is that Peter is creepy and is actually kind of set up as the main bad guy of the movie. I mean, you know, outside of Billy. Even the cops theorized that it could be Peter calling the house and leaving the threatening messages, which leads to Jess falsely identifying him as the killer. Which is why I can't really put her on the same level as like a Laurie Strode. I mean, this girl did kill her boyfriend and then blame him for murdering her friends. And the ending is where the film really shines. Just when it seems like everything is over and evil has been vanquished, Jess just wants to sleep. The cops are there, she's safe now. Then we go to that shot of the house, with the police standing guard out front. But then the phone starts ringing endlessly inside, telling us all we need to know about the fate of poor Jess. It's brilliant, and something that will stick with you long after the credits have rolled.
You fucking creep!
I'm going to kill you.
Billy is a killer that you may not have heard of, but you definitely know of his methods. Sure, you've heard of Michael and Freddy and Jason, but Billy? He's someone you could have easily missed. So when you're introduced to his strange, habits, it's unlike any killer before. His murders are absolutely brutal, and there's a certain personal touch to them, being pretty hands-on in his approach. But it's the way he calls his victims, going on these unhinged, profanity-filled rants. It's like he's psychologically tormenting these women before he murders them. See, this mysterious assailant sneaks into a sorority house, and it's done with this great first-person shot as he climbs up the side of the house. We then are treated to these very creepy angles of the sorority girls just kind of going about their lives completely ignorant to the psychopath. There's so many times where all it would take is for someone to turn around and see him. Yet these girls just aren't that lucky. Billy hides out in the attic and takes out the poor sisters one by one. Despite never getting a full shot of him, there are few scenes that are more iconic than Billy's large eye staring at Jess through the crack in the door. I mean, come on. And I'm not sure you'll ever look at a glass unicorn the same way again. The role of Billy was actually performed by multiple people. While Nick Mancuso played the main Billy and the voice that we hear the most, Bob Clark also voiced him at certain moments. Given that Billy's voice is constantly changing,
Let me lick it.
These changes in actor are indistinguishable. If anything, it just makes Billy all that more unhinged. I mean, can you imagine getting a call from this guy?
Capital F, E, little L, L-A-T-I-O. Thanks. Don't mention it.
I'm going to do things a little bit differently with this one, because I feel like more so than any individual scene, there's another element of this movie that makes it stand above the rest. Margot Kidder's Barb. See, Barb is such a tragic character. We see right from the jump that her parents don't treat her with any kind of importance.
Yeah, sure, I'm fine. I'll see you around.
She also has a drinking problem that everyone rightfully judges her for, even her parents.
No, I've had a couple.
But despite her clear alcoholism, there's a certain strength to Barb. Hell, she's the one that challenges authority when they're looking for their missing sister. Sure, that could just be attributed to her being drunk, but I'd say it's because she just won't take shit from anyone.
Listen, you pervert, why don't you go over to Lamb-Kai? They could use a little of this.
Usually the bitchy girl in a slasher film just has no dimension to her, yet I would argue that Barb is the most layered of all the girls that we see here. Kidder herself took on the role because Barb was wild and far away from a conventional leading part. This meant Kidder was able to do a little more with her performance. And it really pays off because Barb is easily the most memorable character, and she'll stick with you long after the movie is over, because despite her clear bitchiness, it's easy to find yourself rooting for her. And that's some damn fine acting from Kidder.
The caller is in the house. The calls are coming from the house. Jess! Jess! Get up! And don't go up there!
Black Christmas released in Canada on October 11th, 1974. That's right, this Christmas movie came out right in the midst of the Halloween season. For the American release, Warner Brothers did the smart thing of releasing it on December 20th, but did the very stupid thing of changing the name of the movie to Silent Night, Evil Night. Thankfully though, they changed it back to Black Christmas after its initial release. The movie managed to bring in over $4 million, which, given its measly $620,000 budget, made it a massive success. We've received two different remakes of the film. The first came in 2007 and came from Final Destination co-creator Glenn Morgan. This colorful take decided to explain away Billy's origins and added another killer, Agnes. 2019 brought us a remake in name only, featuring none of the elements of the original film outside of the sorority aspect. It's an absolute abomination and an insult to anyone with eyeballs.
You messed with the wrong sisters.
Seriously, stay away from that trash. In 2021, a fan film was funded through Indiegogo titled It's Me, Billy, and followed the granddaughter of Jess. Seeing as how we never got an official sequel, this is a fun watch to be able to return to that world. Scream Factory just recently released the film in glorious 4K, and it's truly the best way to see this Bob Clark classic. From the cleaned up picture to the restored audio, Black Christmas has never looked better. And for a movie that's almost 50 years old, that's really saying something. Black Christmas is a film that I rewatch every holiday season, from its grounded characters to its terrifying and mysterious killer. I love the journey that it takes you on. You're shoulder to shoulder with these sorority girls during the worst few days of their life, as they get knocked off one by one. And then, just when you think you're safe, the phone starts ringing, and it keeps ringing. What do you think of Black Christmas? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.